I think part of the aspect of joy is knowing deep down intrinsically, I am worthy to feel joy. I think it's that deep-seated intrinsic knowledge that allows that joy to come. Because when I'm worthy, there's a lot of joy in that alone.
Worthiness is a demon that keeps on popping up. I think everybody at some point feels unworthy.
Good morning, Cathie Nesbitt. Afternoon for you in Ontario.
Hello, Suzanne. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for your time. I reached out to you about doing a podcast with me because of your work with joy, your focus on joy. And I want to talk with you today about the concept of living with joy.
Love it.
Okay, so I first want to know your story. Like, joy is on your LinkedIn page. You run laughter yoga workshops. How did you arrive to the place in your life? Like, just tell me your story of how you got to this, focus on joy with what you do.
Yeah, so, it's the 23rd anniversary of my worm composting business, Cathie's Crawly Composters, selling worms by the pound for indoor composting. Yeah, so 2012, one more person said, ew, worms in the house. I was 10 years into my worm mission. And I questioned everything. Oh my gosh, Suzanne, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I don't know what to do. And the very next day I was introduced to laughter yoga. And it changed everything for me. I don't even do yoga. I know yoga's a fine thing. I find it very uncomfortable, like being twisted into a pretzel.
Yeah.
I'm a walker. I love exercise. It's just yoga is not really for me. So I jumped right to the fun yoga. And laughter yoga is not jokes or comedy. It's laughing as a cardiovascular workout. It's laughing with intention. To when we're laughing, we're secreting the love drugs. It brings us more joy, and that's how it's changed my life.
Right. So interesting about laughter, because I was looking you up, and I always like to look at what the people do that I interview and learn about you. And you have a list of things that come with laughter. Of the benefits. And you said the exercise component. I'm a fitness instructor, and I did all of the training on muscles, and those core muscles, transversus abdominis, certainly are engaged with laughter.
Right. Yes. Our diaphragm is attached to all of our organs. So when we're laughing, it's like internal jogging. And as you likely know, we have 3 times the amount of lymphatic fluid as blood. So
I didn't know that.
Oh, ta-da! There's
Nope.
your piece for today. Yeah, so we have 3 times the amount of lymph, and lymph only moves when we move. And we're very sedentary today. Sometimes people get swollen ankles, or their face might be swollen. The lymph nodes may be blocked. So laughter helps us to move our lymph in a fun way.
So I've only learned recently about the lymphatic system of what that is. And moving on. So I actually wanted to go back to laughter because I think laughter is so linked with living with joy. I think when we can laugh, there's so much joy in that. So let's go back to laughter on its own. What happens to you intrinsically, not just physically, but intrinsically with laughter?
Well, we connect on a deeper level with others. There's an isolation crisis right now. Since 2020, I mean, it was here before. It's just bigger since 2020 when the world was shut down. Yeah. And isolation, I've recently heard that isolation is more damaging to our health than smoking, alcohol, and obesity combined. And so imagine, so laughter just connects us. And with laughter clubs, since 2020, we've all jumped online. So in the Zoom room, we have it on gallery view, and we're all looking at each other. So we're connecting on a very profound level. You can laugh by yourself. It's not as much fun, and I think it's more challenging to laugh alone. Like you can just laugh, ha ha ha, and maybe get some benefits. But I think you get way more benefits when you're laughing with somebody or in a group. Mm-hmm. You lose yourself.
You're taking this to the next question. I was going to ask you about what happens to you when you see laughter in others. Like, there's laughter in us and how I feel, right? But when you observe that in others, what happens for you with that emotion?
Yeah, it's contagious. You know, when we see people laughing or we hear people laughing, we look, we're like, oh, what are they laughing at? And we want to be involved in it. I think our brain is wired for laughter, but it's being suppressed. It was suppressed way back by the philosophers, the Greeks, because laughter was looked at as being frivolous. If you were laughing, that you weren't taken serious. So the more education you had, the less you laugh. So Dr. Suzanne, you would not be laughing if you were raised in the Greek time. And I think that there's still residue from those times.
Right.
That it's not acceptable. It's fine if somebody's crying. We're like, oh yeah, somebody's really angry or whatever. It seems to be okay. But if somebody's laughing, we look like by themselves, it's like, oh, something must be wrong with them.
Okay, listen, I have a story about that. Absolutely. So I live near Grouse Mountain in Vancouver, North Vancouver. And there's a woman, and we call her the dancing lady. Okay? She dances up and down the street, and she's probably my age. Like, I'm 52. So much that there are Reddit dialogues about this woman. And at her, if it's a 2-year-old, you're like, oh, cool. And I kid you not, like, forgive me, Jesus, but I'm like, she's got to have a mental health disorder. She's got to have something, because nobody would do that up and down the street. And isn't that a sad state of affairs? That I'm going, why is she doing this? And we love it. Like, everybody loves watching her. But you wouldn't catch me, like, for $1 million dancing. Like, I'm talking about, like, John Travolta staying alive up and down the road. And it was such an interesting thing of she on her own is having joy. But it's a way that we are held back with alluding to what you're saying, right? Of thousands of years ago. And yet my response is, and this is my mental health experience on that psych unit, is, okay, there's some sort of mental health disorder there that you're doing that to reckless abandon. And it is so sad for me that that's my response. So I totally, absolutely hear what you're saying. And we just hold back too much as adults. We don't as toddlers.
Right, yeah. So there's about 50 years of research showing that laughter is beneficial for our health. And if that's true, and it is, why is it so challenging for us to achieve sustainable, abundant, reliable laughter for our health?
Yeah.
The frontal lobe, the critical mind. You see children, I mean, I think they say children laugh 300 times a day or whatever. I think they laugh way less than they used to, because they're born into this world where there's so much fear and anxiety and frustration and stress. Yeah. They're laughing less. But adults, so when we hear a joke, we have to it goes through all these filters. Is it funny? I've heard that joke before. That's a dirty joke. I'm not laughing at that. What will these people think that I'm with if I'm laughing? So there's all these filters, once it gets through the filters, it's conditional laughter. And we might be, if we're watching a show, we might laugh at the line, but if we keep on laughing, we're doing our laughter yoga. Well, the people that are with us are going to be mad because they can't hear the next line. Same if you're at a comedy club, you can't just laugh full on because you'll get kicked out of the club.
Right. No, that's such an interesting, that makes so much sense, especially the history on this.
Yeah.
You're right. That the smarter you were, the more esteemed you were, the less that you laughed, which is I think it's so connected to joy, which I feel is so much the essence of life, of who we are and what we want as people, our joy.
Wherever you are in your life, you can have joy. It's not, happiness is conditional. Like, oh, when I get that job or I pay off my mortgage or all the things, I'll be happy for a minute, till the next thing. Joy is something we can have at any moment. And it does come from within. I believe that we're in control of our own joy.
It's a hard one. Before we get to joy, because I want to dig deep into joy in life, I want to know, my last question about laughter is, what is the most surprising thing that you have learned about the power of laughter?
Oh, I think it's the physiological part, that it's the body's response. Why do we laugh when at inappropriate times, at a funeral, or we see somebody trip and fall, and once we know that they're okay?
Right.
I think it's the body's, like, we might be really stressed, so it's the body's release. It's like the pressure cooker where it's like, and then it explodes. I think that's what happens with our body. It's like you need to lighten up, because when we're stressed, we have these two nervous systems, parasympathetic and sympathetic. We're living at this time in a perpetual state of stress. When we're in our stress mode, we're not in our rest and digest mode. So even though people stress eat, I would suggest that they stop doing that, because it goes in one end and comes out the other, and no nutrients are really absorbed into our body.
And I think, personally, I feel that since COVID, that has just gone 1,000-fold of losing those moments of the rest and digest and the joy that's with that. Okay, let's move to joy.
Okay.
I want to talk about joy. Okay, so now we're going to shift to joy. Tell me, please, what does the word joy mean to you? Can you define it in your own terms?
Joy to me it's a feeling of bliss. Just a feeling of satisfaction, of even though I said happiness, of happiness and just being content. It's just, for me, it's a feeling of, like, a very high vibration feeling of contentment.
Can I add to that with my experience?
Absolutely.
Just while you're talking, I'm just thinking, I didn't plan this. I'm just thinking about this. I think part of the aspect of joy is knowing deep down intrinsically, I am worthy to feel joy. And I say that because I worked with so many students that did not feel worthy. Joy is off the table. We're just trying to decrease the anxiety and decrease the depression, and let's do the medications and the talk therapy. And to get to that point of I'm worthy of joy, I think it's that deep-seated intrinsic knowledge that allows that joy to come. Because when I'm worthy, there's a lot of joy in that alone.
Oh, for sure. Right? Worthiness is a demon that keeps on popping up. I think everybody at some point feels unworthy, like, oh, why me? Why do I deserve this? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole, the whole thing of you are worthy is my catchphrase. It's a huge part of how many times in my classroom with students that come with all the single traumas listed off that you could have. And that's a whole other dialogue.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the next one. You've already done this, but I want you to maybe expand it a little bit more, can you differentiate joy from happy? I think it's really important to come up with a differentiation, or are they? You can argue that if you feel that they're...
Well, they kind of are partners. They're partners for sure. But they are separate, because happiness is, again, I think it's conditional, that once you get something, when you achieve something that you've been wanting, then you'll be happy. Where joy is intrinsic. It's something that is within you.
Here's a big question is, how do we live with joy? I think you've talked about laughter.
Laughter's one way. There's many ways to achieve joy. I mean, being out in nature for me is definitely a highlight in my life. Walking in the forest, it's so joyful where I can just be present, breathe, focusing on my breath, where I'm just doing those deep diaphragmatic breathing wherever I am. If I'm feeling anxious, of course I still experience the other side. I'm not always like in this joy-filled state. Things happen, and I have tools that help me get out of that tense, where my body's all tightened, I'm not breathing properly, I'm secreting all the stress chemicals, where I can just step outside. I do a lot of earthing where I'm barefoot, absorbing the earth's energy, looking up at the sun, taking the deep breaths. Those are all joy-filled moments. And I think if we can have a moment of joy and then another moment and another moment, rather than go, I'm going to look at the whole day and be joyful today. It's like, what about one moment at a time?
Well, I love that. And especially I think for people that struggle with having joy, just embracing that one single moment of I have joy here.
Exactly.
In this moment, in this very moment, I have joy. How do you think that laughter is connected to joy, or how does it lead to joy? How does it foster joy?
Well, it's a chemical, kind of a biological process. We're either again, back to our nervous systems, parasympathetic or sympathetic. When we're in our parasympathetic system, we're secreting all the love drugs. Laughter just boosts that. We're secreting dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Have you had your daily dose? Haha, fun.
Right.
And it also, our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body as an operating principle. When we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. We're shallow breathing, just in our chest. When we laugh, and it's kind of a built-in response from laughter, because you can't just ha-ha, you're exhaling. You have to take a nice deep breath in so you can continue laughing at the joke or the situation or in the laughter club. So I think laughter is really a beautiful partner for joy, because our body will be awash in those chemicals. Our beautiful vessel will be fully oxygenated, so we get more energy. We're looking up rather than looking down. There's so many ways that laughter is connected to joy.
Okay. Last question about joy is, can you describe how joy could extend, or does it extend to other parts of our lives? Like, what are the tentacles of joy?
It affects everything. It's energy. Everything's energy. So when we're joyful, we're high energy. We're going to be vibrating at a higher rate. Joy is kind of the opposite. I say that laughter is the opposite of stress. I would say joy is up there as well. So when we're joyful, again, we're looking up, we're vibrating higher, so we attract things at that same high level, versus when we're feeling depressed or frustrated, anxious. All of those low vibrating energies, they're not matching. It's like static. If your radio isn't on the station, it's uncomfortable. It's that static that you hear in your ear. And I think that's what happens when people are feeling, and with laughter yoga, the beautiful thing about it is it's not jokes or comedy. It's laughing as an intentional exercise. So we can fake it till we make it, although I really dislike that expression. Yeah. When I took my laughter training, that was how we started. They said, just fake it till you make it. So I would set up my classes and say, if it's your first time, don't worry. If you're like, how am I going to laugh without jokes or comedy? Just fake it till you make it. And then at the end of the class, I would ask people, how did it go? Did you like it? And because we said at the beginning, fake it till you make it, at the end, they might have picked that up and said, it was okay, but it felt fake, right? So that stayed with them. So now we say, it's the body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. The mind knows.
Really?
The mind knows.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Right? So the body's like secreting all the love drugs, getting oxygenated, feeling great. The mind's going, what are you doing? Right? It's the ego going, hey, you look ridiculous. Stop laughing. Because the brain's role is to keep us safe and conserve energy. Like when we're at the family function and a sibling says something, we're back in that same fight that we've had for generations for years. Because the brain's like, I know what to do here. No need to expend any new energy. We just get back into that same battle.
I did not know that the physiological effects are identical, the same, from forced laughter to natural laughter.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought that you'd have to have it more organic than it's actually happening to have the full physiological effects.
No, and for people, if they are struggling, they're in a depression, and they're like, how could I laugh? Starting even with a smile. As soon as we have a smile, we send a note to our brain, hey, I must be happy, I'm smiling. And we start secreting the love drugs. So practice smiling, like looking in the mirror, smiling. It's might be a challenge, but if you can smile, then maybe you can giggle, even if it's fake, ha ha ha. When we say ho and ha, we're moving our diaphragm. Those two sounds are moving our diaphragm. So already we're starting to change our biology.
Well, and those sounds are also, linked, like polyvagal theory talks about that, right? With the vagus nerve and just what that does for our nerve system. And like the chanting of monks has been proven at a neurological level to be soothing with that nervous system and the vagus nerve.
Right? Exactly. Yes. I'm not making all this stuff up. It really is science.
Listen, I poo-pooed all of this until about 3 years ago, and then I was researching neuroscience for my thesis. I researched monks and studies on monks and on their brains, on their neurology, on their nervous systems, and holy smokes, like once you get into what's been quantitated, there's no denying the effects that we have on the effects on our body from not just laughter and meditation and breathing, what you said before.
And it's connection, right? Because of this isolation that we're experiencing. When we come together as a group, and especially in a positive group, like you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of, oh, this bad thing happened, and then, oh, you think that's bad, and then everyone is telling their horror stories. What about if we spiral up instead, and not in a fake way, but telling positive, wonderful stories that happened to you. Oh, this thing happened. Yay. Oh, I helped a woman take her groceries to the car. Oh, wow, good for you. Right? It's these feel-good stories that I do think helps us to move forward. And I just wrote an article on self-love. You know, there, especially as women, it seems like we needed to put everybody else first, and so we have, and we're continuing to do so. I'm suggesting that if we look inward and we look after ourselves and we care for ourselves first, then our cup is full and we can give the extra to those around us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Cathie, I always end with 3 wrap-up questions.
Okay.
Teacher and Me takes us back to the goal. So goal, I wanted to talk about living with joy, right? So here's number 1, wrap-up question number 1. What would happen with our relationships if we sought a life of joy, of living with joy, instead of careers, success, and everything external? So I'm not saying that we don't pursue the other things, but that joy supersedes everything else external. What would happen to our relationships?
They would be more harmonious. We would be seeking out more connection. Because when we feel good, we do good. And the better we feel, the more we want to help other people and bring other people up to where we are. That's where I am right now. You know, since 2020, I've really been looking at self-care and self-love, and I really believe that it's part of our human evolution. It's not just something that's good to do. I really think that it's important for us to move forward as humanity.
Yeah, I think it's what we're born for.
Yes.
I feel that it's what we're born for, but we've lost that. We've become so lost with that understanding in our pursuit of everything else that we're told we're supposed to pursue.
Marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, wrap up question number 2. How does joy help with life's challenges?
Oh, wow, that's a great one. Joy.
You could think on that one. I like asking, I want to really dig in there.
Joy, like, I can only speak from my own experience. Since I've decided that joy is a part of my daily life now, it just helps to, every day is just more free flowing. For me, I feel like I'm more in flow and ease. Joy has given me the gift of just being more present with my life.
I like that one. Being present is something too. I think we have lost so much. I've lost it. I struggle to be present because I'm just like go 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 go, and the list of things to do, and just to sit
laughter,
there.
Laughter brings us to the present, because when we're laughing full on, we can't be thinking about that thing we said yesterday, that meeting coming up tomorrow. We're not even thinking. It's not a great survival technique, because when we're laughing full on as a group, and you can only laugh full on, belly laugh, when you feel safe. Mm-hmm. If you're laughing in a group, your knees get weak. So you couldn't even run away if you needed to get away. You couldn't.
Yeah. Okay, last question. How does living with joy change your perspective of the world and within the world?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question, because when you're looking at joy and looking for joy and being in joy, you see more things to be joyful about.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that simple. It's kind of the thing of what you focus on, you get more of. When you look for joy and look for things to be joyful about, there's just more and more. You hear stories,
Right.
you run into people, and they're so joyful and they're happy and they're upbeat and the high energy, and that's what you attract. It's that energy.
I was thinking about this when I was creating questions, right? I want to get not fluffy, go really deep. And I was thinking about this last one in particular, because I end with like my favorite question of all. And I want to add my thoughts. I think what happens is when I strive to live with joy, I also live in gratitude.
Yes.
When I strive for joy, there's gratitude because I think part of it is you're finding those small moments and being present, like you said, being present and just receiving those. And I think you need a level of gratitude within that.
I agreed. Yes, gratitude and joy. They're all of these words are so. I think they're high vibration words. First of all,
Yep.
they're high vibration words, and yes, I agree. Gratitude is a huge part of joy because when you're grateful, you're joyful.
Yep. Totally.
Love that.
I don't know what comes first. I actually think gratitude comes first.
It could.
I don't know. I haven't thought of that one yet. Like what comes first, gratitude or joy? And my life, like I have always really sought gratitude, even when things are tough, to be grateful. And I've been huge with my kids within that. And then I think that when you're able to take gratitude, even in the small things, or if things are going really tough, like, like that question, how it helps with life challenges. I think when there's gratitude within that, there's maybe a more natural veering towards the joy because I'm able to pull in what's good versus focus on that negative, and that requires gratitude to do that.
Yes, love it. Oh, that's
I just,
awesome.
yeah, gratitude's a whole other dialogue too. I mean, there's so much, right?
Right, exactly. But it's those high vibration energies that we're seeking. And I think when we feel good, we do good.
Yep, totally. Yeah. One of my mandates I'm new on this platform. I'm new to spreading my word of what my research was and I guess life experiences with the research. And a big one is, and this is my mantra, my tagline for my brand is to bring joy, meaning, and just make this world a better place. And when we're trying, like all of these concepts make it all better.
Right?
Gratitude makes it better. Happiness, laughter make it better. And joy just undergirds it, I think, with the gratitude.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Do it.
It's essential that we manage our nervous system. That's what I've kind of learned in the past 4 years, that it's
Yeah.
essential that we manage our nervous system so that we can function better and grow.
Yep. Yeah. Cathie Nesbitt, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you online?
Well, I would love to invite your listeners to my free online laughter club. It might be a little bit early for your time, unless they're early birds. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Zoom.
And you have a website? I looked at it yesterday.
Yes, it's cathiesclub.com, Cathie with a C. And there's all kinds of wonderful videos there. I actually have a video series called Fun Fab Fridays. We just launched episode 185.
Wow.
3.5 years. And my laughter club, I started June 2020 because I needed connection and I needed more
Yeah.
joy.
I'm sure there has been so much connection for you in that.
Oh, it's amazing. I get about 25 Zoom squares, and 4 of those are usually groups: community living and long-term care.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I get people from around the world. It's so beautiful. It's magic.
Send me all of that. Let's put it in the show notes for this, and we can just have a list for everybody to refer to.
Thank you. I would love it.
Thank you so much for your time, Cathie.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I hope that this episode encourages you to pursue a life where we live with more joy and see the value of laughter and try to have more laughter in our lives. You can subscribe to this channel for more episodes about this. Share this with somebody who needs some more laughter in their life, and click like on that little link below. Leave me some comments of any topics you'd like to see in the future, or any questions or other comments that you have. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.